quite a lot of nice places. That's Cooley Museum, isn't it?
Yeah, I enjoyed that. It was nice.
Good diversion. Yeah, are you still recording?
No, I'll stop now.
No, we should totally string that in together and do a weird stream of consciousness cast.
Well, I think
we could probably chop it down to be 10 minutes. What's this guy? That's Megalodon?
Megalodon. A giant herbivore dinosaur, normally bipedal, but also capable of efficient quadrupedal locomotion. You don't get as many dinosaurs in games now.
It's because they're extinct. We've killed them all. It's because Dino Crisis 3 sucked.
Turok. I think
as well.
I think one of the later Turoks, the dinosaur would pick up the weapon and use it on you.
No.
That might be a lie, but it sounds plausible.
Sounds like bullshit.
What game was it where the dinosaur came through the window? There was like some legendary...
Dino Crisis?
Was that it? It was just kind of like Resident Evil.
Yeah, Dino Crisis was just Resident Dinosaur. Dinosaur Evil, I guess.
It's not too bad.
Dino Hazard?
I remember there was on the...
That's old.
What, Dino Crisis?
Dino Crisis.
Yeah. I think the reason it died out is because the third one was set in space.
I think I played that 12 years ago.
I don't know if I've ever played it.
Somewhere there's a Kickstarter to bring that game back.
Yeah, let's get it going. Bring Dino Crisis.
Oh, see, there's other intellectual gamers at the Natural History Museum.
That was a good off-the-cuff interview.
Fossils.
Yeah, I was saying about talking to random people about games. There was one time I went to visit one of our customers, and I forget what I was talking about, but she was explaining how her son was obsessed with Minecraft, and her husband had built a Minecraft server for them. It was like, this is really weird. I'm talking to like a departmental administrator about Minecraft.
Yeah. I found out
Games are cool, and then I realised that they weren't.
I found out one of the project managers for all the submarine projects is super into, or him and his kids are super into World of Warcraft. And that's because he came in one day, he got this like phone call, and he was just really like sort of, you could see he was distressed, like it was his son calling.
There's a raid on, Jesus Christ.
It's his son calling. The son had logged into his account and they got jacked. So everything, so he logged in, his character was completely blank, everything was taken, all their money was gone. And he was like, sort of trying to console him over the phone, but at the same time then looking into like, well, what the hell do you do when your WoW account gets hacked? Like, is there a way to get that kind of stuff back? It's interesting.
I think because I had so many games, like my Mega Drive used to be perched on the edge of this shelf, and anytime somebody pulled the cord, it would knock the whole thing off and the game would freeze.
Yeah.
And so as a result of that happening to me, at least once a month, I tend not to play games at quite a lot of investment because I don't want to get too attached to them because I know how frail the saves are,
Well, that's what's quite interesting now when you play emulators, that you can jam a save slot on it. And it's like, oh, this game that I just played for years and years, actually it's about 30 minutes if you don't need to keep replaying World 1-1 18 times in a row.
That was part of the fun, wasn't it? Seeing how far you could get.
Well, I think there's the thing about the first level in every game, that those old NES games, SNES stuff, you could draw it out from memory. Well, I'm pretty sure if I gave you a pen and said, do me, was it Green Tree Hill Zone?
Green Hill Zone, yeah. Well, have you ever heard of this thing called Methods of Loki?
Loki is in the central point of a circle where everything's equidistant from a point.
Well, locus is in a kind of focal point. So the idea is that it's a cognitive psychology thing for remembering. So what you do is you take, say you've got the same path you walk into to work every day. The idea is to map. It's used for essay creation. So if you get major points in an essay and studies you want to do, you. I feel like I'm being interviewed. Are you pointing that thing at me?
This is really good though, because this is what we said. Like the whole point is we used to have these interesting conversations.
Yeah, we have these conversations in the pub, and then we'd stop having them because we wanted to podcast.
Yeah, and then but recently I felt when we sort of sit down to podcast them, they're not quite as fluid and free-forming as used to be.
So so Methods of Loki. So the idea is say you've got a way you walk into work. You take something like a baker's or a set of traffic lights, and you make a mental creation between that point and a study or a point you want to make in your essay. Mm-hmm. And one of my friends, who shall remain nameless,
Stuart?
No, Andy Nelson.
All right.
He uses a Halo 3 map to do that, and so he did for a psychology degree.
Really?
So yeah, he would have where the rocket launcher was. He would know that was to be some study, or where the energy sword could be found. And so I actually did that for one of my final essays. I used the Green Hill Zone. layout, because that was the one thing that I knew really well. It was the first act of Green Hill Zone.
So are you still able to remember the points on the Green Hill Zone?
Yeah, it'll be things like the first spring where the rings are hidden, where you
Yeah.
find the invincibility box, the loop.
So what were they mapping to for your essay?
I don't remember now because I used it for different studies.
Right.
So what you do is if you have trouble remembering the studies and points you want to cover, you imagine yourself playing your way through Green Hill Zone, and you go, what am I meant to remember here? It does work.
Well, I know that's what magicians use as well for those memory tricks. So if they're trying to remember like a long sequence of numbers, like credit card, first of all, they'll associate each number with something really unique.
Vivid.
So a 1 will be, a nun, and then 2 will be like a T-Rex. And so then they'll plan the order of them like that, walking through their house normally is what you do. You go in, you go into your bedroom, you go through all the cupboards, because then you can, because it's something you're so familiar with, you can then add on more levels of detail to it.
Did you ever hear of Sharashevsky? He was this famous...
The Russian ballet artist.
He's a Russian meninist. So he was he had an incredible memory. And he was able to vividly remember absolutely everything. But the problem was, he actually couldn't forget either, because he just remembered so much. So the old memories blurred into the new ones. I always thought that was really... So he basically went mad.
Really?
Yeah, because he couldn't forget anything. And I always thought it was interesting that people are so focused on remembering things, but actually being able to forget's a really important thing as well. If you remembered every shopping list you ever had to make, how would you know what you needed for this week's shopping?
Well, there's
How do you remember what you had for your dinner?
There's a Terry Pratchett Discworld book called Small Gods, where essentially the main character in it is a kind of young Buddhist monk, and he's not particularly bright, but he's got perfect recall. He can remember everything down to the most minute detail. And so there's a part
recall?
There's a part near the end of the book where he stumbles upon the Greek equivalent of the Grand Library and reads everything. And so then he's sort of in a boat and he's fixing it, but he doesn't know what a boat is, but he knows everything about it and how to fix it. And it was really interesting the way it writes, because he sort of keeps snapping in and out of it, just reciting. And it actually reminded me of being at uni and just when you just memorise something whole blank and not really understand what the hell it was about.
But that was the fallacy of university. If you just memorised everything,
it works for your undergrad, but by the time you're sort of...
It shouldn't.
No, it works for exams in your undergrad.
That's part of the common marking scheme. Is you have to show a certain amount of original insight to even get a B.
Yeah.
Wish I'd been encouraged to think for myself.
See, what I was thinking, right? Because there was a bit of method to this. Was that I thought that we would be able to pitch this on the many animal appearances in games, because that's a broad topic.
What's too forced though?
No, I'm only joking. No, not like specific. And who can forget the owl? With such fantastic inclusions as that bit in Resi 4.
Ocarina of Time.
Ocarina of Time.
Yeah, see, that would be an awful topic for a podcast.
Yeah. Did you ever hear, video game music gets remixed to hell and back? But there was one where it was all rap songs. So I'd Busta Rhymes and Aesop, and they had one
this
where...
over the top of GoldenEye?
Oh, no, just Ocarina of Time.
Oh, okay.
But they had a track, and it was called something Owl, but it had Jay-Z over it. And it's this simple little chiptune sort of bass line, but it sounds nasty as hell by the way they cut it in. It's really good.
Now you should listen to the GoldenEye rap mashup. It's amazing. It's really, really good.
What's good about it?
That it actually works.
Okay.
That it doesn't suck makes it good. There you go. Here's some extinct birds.
Oh, losers.
Losers?
People can have a big impact on the habitats in which birds live. Some habitats are more affected than others. That is why you will find many more species with red or amber labels from intensely managed habitats, such as farmlands, than you will from wilder habitats, such as sea cliffs or moorlands. The kind of birds we find in an area change over time.
Birds are one of these things, though, where, they look really cool like this, but any time I see one flitting about the hedge, I just seem the same old brown mush sprinting away, and I never really appreciate them. I would need to get, a massive lens on this so I could do some proper bird watching.
Your social standing will take quite a hit, though.
Think so?
It is a bit cliched. Bird watching, and then it's train spotting.
Well,
aren't those related?
I mean, bearing in mind that I spent all of this morning playing a computer game, I don't think my social standing can take
That's
more
way above bird watching.
Is that?
Yeah, easily. There's no bird watching podcast. Maybe. Oh, cool. Gemstones. Gemstones are minerals with three qualities: beauty, durability, and rarity, much like myself. The beauty may lie in the colour and transparency, still about me, as in glowing ruby red, I'll never lie to you, girl, or vibrant green emerald. It may be a flash of rainbow colour shown by diamonds or precious opals, or a schiller, a subtle play of light across the stone. A gemstone must be able to make a high poly... Sorry.
I've already found my two favourites. It's brilliantly named.
Is it the gemstone? Is it the Chaos Emeralds?
No, I've taken a picture of the emeralds, and this is one called Hidden Light, and the other one's called, I'm going to pronounce this very carefully, Kunzite.
Kunzite. Smoky quartz sounds like an excellent tea.
Smoky Quartz sounds like an R&B guitarist from the 1970s.
My grandfather, Smoky Quartz, wrote this song about my grandma not coming back.
Smoky Blue. Right, John, 10 US game reference. Hey look, it's an ammonite. I dug up one of those in Animal Crossing once.
An ammonite.
Yeah.
It also looks slightly like the rubbish prehistoric Pokemons at the end of the alphabet.
Oh yeah, they were the ones that nobody cared about.
And it was Kabutops was one. I don't remember the other one.
Aerodactyl's one of them.
Yes.
Omanite.
Omanite, that's the cat.
Evolved into.
There you go, there's Omanite right there.
Which evolved into.
Christina Aguilera.
Omastar, that's right.
Wow, why did I reach for Christina?
The first 150 Pokemon are easily the best.
Okay, who can name them all?
Not me. I was too busy catching them all.
Actually, I caught them all except for Taurus, which was one of the ones in the Safari Zone. And the Safari Zone ones were an absolute pain in the ass because you had to pay to go in. You only had 5 minutes, and so it was just it was a real grind.
The thing was, in the Safari Zone, you'd find all the other ones anyway.
Yeah.
So you could still find the usual.
Oh, you still get a
Rattatas and
Rattata probably or something terrible like that.
crappy old, what do you call it, metapods and rubbish like that.
We could release this as an audio tour. It's like an
Delightful tour,
unauthorized audio tour. Like if you want a really inconsistent tour of the Natural History Museum of Oxford, download and play now.
Are those holes natural?
The holes in his pelvis.
Yeah.
I don't know.
My pelvis doesn't have holes like that, I don't think.
It looks like you could sort of pick up and get a good tune out of it.
Ocarina of pelvis.
Ocarina, yeah.
That controversial Zelda game.
Ocarina of Spine. Thank you.
Cool. That was a rubbish photo. Can't win them all, eh?
Follow the rabbit.
Nah, I'm taking a photo of this weird green shit.
Copper mineral mallet.
Look at that fur rabbit. He's actually been stroked so much that he has no fur on top of his head. So you can stroke a dead rabbit's skull. Lovely. So did you see this thing? The guy that turned his dead cat into a helicopter?
No. That's. Why did I laugh at that? That sounds terrible.
Yeah, he took his dead cat and strung it out into a helicopter. So it kind of looks like some kind of flying super cat.
So he didn't just like drape the sort of fur over an RC thing. He actually
it's like
Da Vinci'd his.
It's like a taxidermist meets a helicopter pilot. Yeah, basically, yeah. Imagine Saw. Yeah.
Taxidermist meets the Jigsaw Killer.
Is that a cobra?
It is a cobra.
Shit, my pants. I've actually got a photo of a real life pheasant I'll have to show you. That I'm quite pleased of.
Yeah, I had one with a peacock, which had the great title of a picture of me and my cock out. It was very popular on Facebook, that one. Not as good on Twitter. That for some reason that joke played well to the Facebook crowd.
Maybe there's a sympathy like. Do you ever get that? Where you keep making jokes until you get a sympathy like? No, me neither. I've never done that. But if you were to do that, I'm sure it would work.
Yeah, my favourite. I distilled it down. I was like, I really hope this status gets a like. That was it.
Hope somebody likes the shit out of this.
And then the equivalent of, I really hope this tweet gets a retweet.
The crocodile. You'd think it was a real one.
They're really big, man. I remember we were in a zoo in Singapore, and their zoos were like fantastic. They were sort of open enclosures, and then you'd have a big, like a moat, basically, to keep you away. So there weren't cages, so there wasn't anything visually impairing you. Okay. And so it was just this fantastic thing. You see all these beasts sort of just wandering around like 20 feet away. And then this tropical storm hit, and it was kind of getting late at night, so it was very dark. And we ran into cover, and unbeknownst to us, we ran into the reptile house, which is pretty much the scariest place you can go in a thunderstorm. And there's this huge tank, this wall of glass beside us, and whenever the lightning struck, you saw the silhouette of this massive crocodile beside us. Oh, man, anytime I see a croc like that, I just remember that so vivid.
They're one of these really terrifying animals that you be like, oh, look at that crocodile, and then you can imagine that they actually are really fast.
Yeah.
They can go like 30 miles an hour on land. On the water. You can fucking forget it. You should have seen me at the gym yesterday. I was like, I started using this fitness tracking app for swimming, and I did a few legs. Like I must have done about 500 meters, and I got out of the pool and I said to the attendant, "Is this a 50-meter pool?" I went, "No, it's 25."
Well, it felt like 50 to me,
Just saying. I'm putting in 50 meters at work. That's what I'm saying. I didn't realize they were that big.
It's bigger than that's basically a dodo. See, this is it. This is why we shouldn't be sad about the dodo gone. We've got albatrosses.
That bird is massive. You just stand next to this thing.
It looks like
a scale. Like, that's nuts.
Well, it looks like I could sort of ride it and actually get quite far. I mean, it wouldn't be happy about it, but
maybe if like the website never reaches critical mass, which is looking increasingly likely by the day, that we should train some albatrosses and get kids to ride them like ponies.
it's cool. That'll be a fun venture until the NSPCB show up and shut us down.
The NSPCB?
What's the National Society of Protection of Birds?
No, it's the RSPB.
RSPB.
Yeah,
close
that's
enough.
That's like the NSPCC and the RSPB coming at the same time, joining forces to stop our evil scheme.
This guy's beak looks like it was drawn by Walt Disney, and he's got an evil plan.
Rich Uncle Shoebill. Or Shoebillator or
Well,
something.
children, you can have your parents' inheritance, but you'll have to stay a night with evil Uncle Shoebill.
Yes, children, come with me. No, I don't know what happened to your father.
It would have to be one of those abusive uncles, though, that you like let them live in abject poverty, and then they find out they're actually like the daughters of an emperor penguin, which you think would be obvious, but
Don't you realize you can't? The reason you couldn't fly all along, you're related to the great emperor.
There's a rhino, and that actually looks smaller than I thought it would be. There's a polar bear.
Who would win in a fight, a rhino or 6 albatross?
Rhino.
Yeah, it's probably safe.
The answer is always rhino. See, look at that. There's no way.
Who would win in a fight, Spider-Man or Rhino?
Spider-Man and a rhino?
No, or Rhino.
What's this? Is he a...
He was a villain in it.
Sorry.
Where's the Dino Crisis guy? He would have got that.
Come on. I'm so glad that wasn't staged. felt less alone for a second.
I think we've gotten at least 3 minutes of usable material out of this.
Well, I have to compliment you for your optimism. We go up to the second floor?
Yeah, cool.
No, first floor.
Let's go. I'll get some incredible Foley sounds of your feet. No, you don't need to emphasise
That's
that.
making it worse. I'm deliberately walking quiet.
Yeah. I think I can hear your jeans rubbing more, which is a bit unnerving. We'll try again.
I don't know, that could be considered quite a... At one point, I think I might crotch.
There you go. Oh, look at this. Kirby Beard and Co.'s entomological pins. Kirby is Baden pens, plus ultra pens with wide perfect heads.
Pin him if you got him.
You know a Kirby by the thing sticking out your skull. Hey, Chopper. No?
No.
No.
Hey, Craig, what's brown and sticky?
I don't know, Alan. What's brown and sticky?
Probably that millipede after you step on it.
Baboon. So do you think that's why a lot of aliens in games tend to be quite insectoid? I think of Half-Life, the ant lions, kind of like that. Even the really rudimentary spider in Minecraft is kind of freaky on a sort of pathological level.
I think the reason they look like insects is, and this again coming back to my psychology degree, they were talking about why aliens were always kind of bipedal or similar to other animals. It's because is just a general lack of imagination. Imagination's kind of a fallacy.
But like if you look at the monsters in the film Monsters, which I don't know if you saw, I think it was a South African type venture. He wanted to create these aliens that were unlike anything else, but they ended up just looking kind of like giant octopus, and they weren't that vicious looking. They sort of just looked slow and lumbering. I mean, I don't think that wasn't really the point of them. But if it was like a giant, you know, because like Cloverfield still looked quite insectoid, even though it came from the sea.
Well, you're kind of
like it had the little mandibles on the front, and then obviously the little dog, tiny aliens that would fall off it.
kind of bound by the laws of biology. You can't make something that's implausible.
There's quite a lot of them on this like branch at the top. I think those two are humping
Well, I must get a shot of that then.
over there.
Oh boy, he's getting tore in, isn't he? Oh, fucking hell, look at that.
Ah, good God.
Fucking hell. Oh.
Oh wow, look at that, like the Madagascan hissing cockroach and the burrowing cockroach.
Fucking Christ.
Death's head cockroach, flathorn hisser cockroach, the glow spot cockroach, and then the white cockroach has just shed its skin. It will become darker within a few hours. Oh, that's a picture. Oh my God, that's
Need to get it
absolutely
here.
vile. Wait, here, look.
Fuck, I don't want to get near him. Oh, Jesus, don't do that. This is a good idea for someone to come in.
Yeah, it's fun, man.
I'm glad I came in. I think I heard a vicious rumour that there's also the Pitt Rivers Museum in here, and if you go into the back,
Oh, look at that, mammoth carved in ivory. Death of the former, future death of the latter.
yeah.
Last orders. Is it 10 to 5?
Actually, I think we should go for a pint.
Do you think the other place will be open?
What one?
You said there's like another thing. Oh,
Over here.
go.
That guy, that security guard, seriously looking at you funny.
Well, it's because I'm walking around with... Well, I don't think... This is the thing, isn't it? I mean, you're allowed to walk around with cameras and take pictures all you want.
Yeah.
But, like, you walk around with a microphone and suddenly you're like, oh, you're a journalist? Well, not really. Yeah.
I'm a collector of crap memories. I archive them.
Come, let me show you my audio slideshow. Now, sit quietly now. We can't talk while we do this.
What are you doing for the next 30 minutes?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's quite a lot of nice places. That's cool, the museum, isn't it?
Yeah, I enjoyed that. It was nice.
Good diversion. Yeah, are you still recording?
No, stop now.
No, we should totally string that in together and do a weird stream of consciousness cast.
Well, I think... Well,
we could probably drop it down to be 10 minutes.
Poor me, dad was gone. Finally got my dad back. Liver back, he wouldn't live long. Snatched my dad back. Guidance I never had that. Streets was my second home. Welcomed me with open arms. Provided a place to crash at. A place to study math at. Matter of fact, I learned it all. Burnt it all. This music is